Hello everybody, welcome back to the Hof Bergmann explained video for Hof Bergmann version 1.1.0.0. Today we're going to take a look at the grain dryer. But before that, this video is brought to you by Willcast and Farm Sim Canuck. Thank you for being farm barons. So the grain dryer is positioned here at the main farm. We are just behind the pig building. There you can see our silo. This is the side and back of the cow area. We have a silage bunker up there on the hill, and then we have inside of this shed our grain dryer. And the grain dryer is going to accept raw grain, which is going to consist of either wheat, barley, oat, or sorghum. Those four grain types can be added to our grain dryer, and they're basically going to be converted into what's called raw grain. And then with the use of methane, which we've got from our biogas plant, we did do a explained video on the biogas plant and how to get methane. So I'll put a little tick up there in the corner on that if you haven't seen that particular video. So we're going to add methane to this whole process. And then when we turn it on, we're going to blow hot air through the grain and basically dry it all out. So let's go see how it all works. We take a look at our production screen. You're going to see that we're going to take raw grain, and again, that's either wheat, barley, oat, or sorghum. We're going to add it to the dryer. Then we're going to use methane to turn it into dried grain. As far as selling our dried grain, we're going to be able to sell it either at the direct sell point at the grain mill, the direct sell point at the malt factory, or at the land market. So let's go ahead and add our methane. And in the biogas plant video, we explained where we can get this universal gas tank from. So we don't really need to dive into that. So there we go. We've added our methane. And the other thing that we're going to need to do is, well, we're going to need to put our grain in the top of the grain dryer. So we're going to use this auger, which is included with the map downloads. And we're going to walk this thing over and position it over the grain dryer. And specifically, we're going to position it over this door. Just like that. Then we need to come over here. Let's get our F1 menu up. And we get to the corner here. We're going to left click to open the door. Okay, so now the door is open. You're going to see that we're going to be able to put product into that. Let's go and add our barley to our grain dryer. And clearly, we're going to get a lot more money. Why would we dry grain? Because we're going to get a lot more money for the dried grain as opposed to the raw grain. So we're all good because it's going in there. That's good to see. I wonder if we have a fill type. Well, we do. We have a fill level inside, so that's nice to see there. This out of the way. And now it's just a process of turning it on. So we can hit R, turn on our dryer. Get a nice fan animation going on here. We have a screen that reflects our grain dryer. So we can see we have 2,000 liters or 1,900 liters worth of methane in our tank, 7,997 liters worth of raw grain, and now we have 3 liters worth of dry grain. So let's move this out of the way. In fact, we're going to use this to possibly get our grain out of the whole process, because we have to come over here and left click to open the exhaust hatch. So that's how we get product out, is from there. So we know it's all working because we have our beacon, we've got our hot air coming out of the exhaust, and all of these animations and functions, like the screens, they are all a part of this map because this map is using a custom production script. None of this functionality is available with the base game production system. So let's go ahead and just let this run for a little bit, and we'll see how we get our dried grain out of the dryer. It's been a few hours, and at this point we have nearly 6,000 liters worth of dried grain, 2,000 liters worth of grain raw. So let's go ahead and show you how you could theoretically unload this grain dryer. Let's open up the bottom. And I've got two suggested methods for you. One is the use of the auger again, and the other is with a bucket. So if we're going to use the bucket, we're going to position it under the output, and then hit R. Oops. And once we have our bucket full, we'll be able to place it into our trailer. Then another method, and likely a much easier method, is going to be to use the auger, which we already used to fill the grain dryer. So we're once again going to position this under the output. And then going to position our trailer underneath the auger. Everyone hit R, and there you go. Now we are getting grain out of the dryer and putting it into our trailer. And then once again, where we're going to sell this, we're going to take our dried grain. Remember, we use barley. So as a frame of reference, barley right now is $7.93 at the grain mill direct sale, $8.02 at the malt factory direct sale, and $7.88 at the land market. Our dried grain is $15.49 direct sale grain mill, $16.07 at the malt factory direct sale, and $16.38 at the land market. So while the land market is a better price, I am going to take this over to the grain mill direct sale just to show you that, because the mill and the malt factory both have multiple dump stations. And the grain mill, just also where we would go and mill up our malt into malt grist, has basically two production dump stations and one direct sell dump station. I want to make sure you know exactly where those are. So we're going to go over to the mill, which is down here in town. I'm just going to fast forward a little bit till we get there, and I'll bring you right back. Coming up here to our turnoff for the mill. Don't mind this tractor, it was staged for our brewery video. And as we saw in that video, this is where we are going to dump our barley with respect to making our barley grist or barley meal. But that's not where we're going to be dumping this. We're going to be dumping this at the direct sell dump point, which is around the back. And in fact, around the back, we have two different dump stations. The first one, which is for selling, and the second one, which is for production of the flour mill. Let's go ahead and sell our dried grain for a nice little handy profit. So again, here at the grain mill or over at the malt factory, if you see a dump station that has this green sign next to it, that's going to be the sell point. If you see a dump station with this red sign in the gear, that is going to be the production input dump point. So if we're making flour, this is where we're going to be dumping our grain. And then we're going to get our grain in bags over there, basically where we got our mill, our barley malt, or barley meal. So guys, that is going to do us for another Hof Bergmann Explained video. I hope this did help shed a little bit of light on how to use the grain dryer. You may have had a little bit of difficulty in getting the grain in the dryer because you didn't realize you had to open the top, or maybe getting grain out of the dryer because you couldn't figure out how to open the bottom. And of course, we have already demonstrated how you can use the BGA in order to produce methane, and then using the methane at either the grain dryer or another video that we recently put out, which was the beer brewery down at the main farm. Let me know what you all think down in the comments below of the grain dryer and of Hof Bergmann version 1.1.0.0. And until next time, happy farming.